So I made a new Dancing with Knives class, the new agility skill or whatever. Usually I do like the gameplay and stuff first, and then I show the build, but I got to do some explaining because it's a little weird. Um, like I don't use Stolen Vigor, which you would think would be best to do, but I use Puncture, so I am hardly ever at max stacks. Usually we're at 8 to 9, so without being at max stacks, it's just not worth it. Where I could just replace it with something that always has some damage, right? Um, but we got Endariel's Visage, Tyrael's Might, Fist of Fate, the usual. The fists I got are pretty bad, considering for some reason the guy that lets you do the cheats and stuff doesn't give you ancestral uniques, which sucks. Um, we have Umbrus on the pants. I need to change the 8 life per 5 seconds. I forgot to roll that actually. Go ahead and do that real quick. While we continue talking here, we'll just take the first thing. It's like max life. Yeah, there we go. Umbrus, max life, plus armor and dodge chance, which I have too much armor, but I can't. It's a long process in the PTR to try to reroll certain things, so we just haven't done that. The amulet has total armor on it, so either the amulet or the pants, whichever, like one of them needs to go. But there wasn't really anything else to put on the pants because the amount of life you get is minimal. So I recommend putting total armor on the pants and then putting like some kind of damage on the amulet, but I don't have any more rolls for this, so we're just kind of stuck with it. Or we can't do damage because damage per Dark Shroud's already on there. We're just something else that's more useful. Boots, we have max life, dodge chance, and dance with knives, and we have concussive strikes on there. Lucky hit chance to slow, which we don't really need because the knife thing already does that, but it's okay. And movement speed. Some other lucky hit would work. I guess I like lucky hit chance to daze. Or no, we already have lucky hit chance to daze because of the concussive strikes. Something else. Creeping death on the bow. Dex max life DOT since we're doing poison again. Chance for Dance of Knives to cast twice, and then damage per Dark Shadow. And then we need to talk about we'll talk about the ruins in a minute. I have Retribution on one of the blades, which will have a chance to stun, and then you deal damage to stunned enemies. Dex max life DOT, same stuff that's on the bow. And then we use Condemnation, which again we don't have an ancestral one right now, but is what it is. We use Condemnation because of this. The Star Shards, which the physical damage it does is like virtually nothing. What matters is it now spends combo points. And then Corruption, because I didn't know what else to put on here. Potency to vulnerable enemies. And then Edge Master, since we're not using any of our primary resource, we're always at max, so skills will always deal a 38% increased damage based on the primary resource when cast. So this doesn't only apply to core skills. It literally just says skills. Dance of Blades is a skill. This is something I don't see people do a lot or use Edge Masters anymore. Since it is a skill and it doesn't use primary resource, you will just always do the 38%. So then let's get to, we have Amethyst here and then Emeralds here, of course. So start with Creeping Death. We have the one where when you cast a skill with a cooldown, it will cast Decrepify for the Necromancer. With Decrepify, what does it do? It like slows enemies and makes them do less damage and stuff like that. It's all kinds of nasty stuff. Just look at what Decrepify does. So we cast 2 skills with a cooldown. Unfortunately, it didn't work the way I thought it would. We're dancing with blades. I'm just gonna call it like dancing with knives. I'm just gonna call it dancing blades. Okay. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't count even though you have a charge cooldown. Casting it twice does not count. I was hoping it would, but it does not. But that will cast Decrepify, and then this is whenever you evoke a power from another class, it will cast Iron Maiden. So essentially, whenever you use 2 cooldowns, it just casts them both simultaneously. So that's the route we went with that. I was trying to make it work where the one where it would consume all of your resource and you would do 100% damage. But considering it only does it with 1 hit and you're spamming the hell out of this thing, it's not worth. See on the amulet, by the way, cooldown reduction, we don't actually need that, but again, it's hard to get stuff in here. I would just put, actually, I would put Ranks to Impetus on there, because Impetus is really good with the Dancing Knives thing, and I'll show you why, because they changed how Impetus works. And then on here, I just have Dex Max Life, DOT, and then Attack Speed, Dex Max Life, because that's just what I got a hold of. Let's see, we went over all the gear there. And then, of course, we're using combo points. So over to the skills. We have up to Fundamental Puncture to just guarantee things get vulnerable. Even though I don't know what's causing this or if this is just something, but we have 51% chance to make enemies vulnerable. So, like, we don't have to do anything as far as that goes. They just become vulnerable. But we use Puncture because we are using Tricks of the Trade, which we'll get into that when we get to the Paragon. Let me make this bigger. Sturdy for damage reduction from close, and then Siphoning Strikes to heal, even though we're healing a lot from our helmet. I honestly don't have anywhere else to put those points unless I wanted to put them here to get some like DOT damage reduction or whatever, but it's not really worth. We just needed points to get down here. So now we go down here. We have Shadow Step to break CCs, and it's a cooldown, so it helps with the whole Decrepify, Iron Maiden thing. Then, of course, we have Dance and Knives, our main skill. We have all the points we can into that, and then down to the one that slows enemies. 1 second here. Then we have Dash just for cooldown and to move around really quick. Of course, we have, I can't pronounce that, Ballistra? You gain damage when you evade. And then Unstable Elixirs, of course. Drink a potion and do a lot of damage. Especially since they got rid of multiplicative damage. And then here, Daggers, you'll deal increased damage to healthy and injured enemies. It's not really necessary, but again, there's nowhere else to put points. All into Dark Shroud up to the, well, you have at least one active shadow from Dark Shroud, you gain critical strike chance. You don't really need that because we're doing poison, but if you find a place you want to put that point instead, just put it there. Malice, Exploit, Poison Trap just for the cooldown, and then coming down here where we deal to enemies standing inside the Poison Trap, they're just going to take more poison damage. Of course, Poison Imbuement over to Mixed Poison Imbuement, which is important. The lucky hit to reduce the cooldown of your Poison Imbuement by 2 seconds is pretty nice. And we put all, Alchemical Advantage for the attack speed, lucky hit chance, poisoning damage, and then debilitating toxins so they do less damage. Frigid Finesse, since we're chilling enemies all the time and they might become frozen, deal even more damage, but Frigid Finesse is good. Alchemist Fortune to give us more lucky hit chance, and then Impetus. So after moving 15 meters, your next core ultimate deals more damage. Doesn't matter. What matters is while this damage bonus is ready, your basic agility and subterfuge skills deal 15% increased damage. So since we never cast a core or an ultimate skill, we just constantly run around with the 15% damage increase. So if you put it on like an amulet, you get plus ranks to Impetus. Plus 3 ranks, you just do another 15%. If you got like plus 5 ranks, you do what, 22% or something like that. It's pretty good. And then we use momentum. So I thought about using close quarters combat, but the current damage increase is only 24%, and this at least gives us damage reduction, movement speed, and the increased damage, right? So like damage reduction being the main one. Damage reduction is super important in this. You just have to, when you first go into an area, you have to do a certain thing, and I'll show you that when we get there. But we're gonna go over to Paragon. In the starter board, we got versatility. Non-basic and non-core skills deal more damage. That's kind of a given because I don't know if you know this, but it's not a basic or a core skill. So, and then we come down here, we grab this resistance to all elements in the max life, grab all of these, all the damage, max life. We still have more Paragon points we can use too once we level up, but I doubt we're going to level up much more in the PTR. I might mess around with like a, well, we have a couple more days on the PTR. I might try to do like the Druid because I liked the idea of the channeling skill, the new core skill, but I don't know how to make it work. But I also didn't put a lot of time into it, and now that we can use the cheat guy like I did today, I've worked on this build for like 5 hours now, all right? But we can make it work, maybe, possibly. Then we have Eldritch Bounty, grabbing the legendary note, of course. And then what is coming up here, we're grabbing this just for the max life. I had points into this to get the armor, but now that my armor is way over, then there's no point in grabbing it. But if you only put armor on the pants, you might still need to grab these over here. So what you would do is just take away these points and put them here, and just grab these armor nodes and max life. But we come this way, and we have Bane in here. And we grab all of them except for this one. This one's just way too out of the way. But it's got a nice little path here. We just grab here, grab this. Imbued damage, it's not useless as long as your skills are imbued, which they should constantly be. then this is just adding damage. It's not imbuement damage, but it's just extra damage. Grabbing as much as we can here, coming up through here. That's how we get to that way. And then we have all this non-physical damage here that we're just grabbing because poison is non-physical. So come up this way to grab this one node. So if you count, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think it's worth it to get this 40% poison damage. Just use the extra nodes. Especially since we don't even know what to do with some of them. Then we come into cheap shot here. Come down here, grab this resistance to all elements and the max life and stuff like that. Come this way, get the damage reduction from elites, which we didn't have to grab this armor node right here. Yeah, but we kind of do. Sorry, my brain is doing something weird. Okay, there's no way to do it. I was like, what if I put these 2 points here? Is there a way to use less points? Wait, so let's put one here. So it's just the same points. All right, my brain's just dumb. And we don't grab it. Okay, scratch that thought. Come through here, we have tracker in here. And we have just like a nice, like, again, like a path. We kind of have to go off to get these. We come down here, grab this. I had Bane here. And Bane works really good here, but tracker works better here than it does here. Pretty much. Bane works just the same here. You grab a little bit more, actually. I think one more. So we'd have to come here, but then we could leave here instead. So it's whatever. Then let's see. We extra grab this where we just deal a bunch of extra damage to CC'd enemies, which they should be constantly CC'd. But we kind of just come here, grab these. Technically, it would be better to. No, it wouldn't because we'd have to waste a node. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. The boards are like oriented weird, so we're having to relearn everything again. And so like the best pathing to get like an extra node here or there. But anyway, go through here, and you can see the layout to grab these in the best order. Unless somebody's spotting something that I'm not. We're also grabbing these damage to CC'd enemies. Same thing, we're grabbing the damage to CC'd enemies over here. Come down through here, grab these. We did have these as well before we went over the armor, and this gives us armor, but CC. Then we come out here, and this is the new Dance Macabre one. So this says casting a mobility or subterfuge skill increases the damage of your next skill by 50%. So if you're channeling the ability, it won't work. And what I mean by that is, okay, so if you hold it and you're channeling it like this, it won't deal more damage on your next attack unless I'm missing something. But if you just rapidly click it, then your cast a skill, cast another skill after. So just constantly should be doing that 50% damage unless Blizzard's just mind fucking me right now. And we're gonna go back to Seer Rush. Okay. So that's why we have that. If it doesn't work that way, then that will change, but I'm pretty sure that's how that should work. If it doesn't, then fuck you, Blizzard. Anyway. Then we have control here. You could possibly use something other than control. There's probably plenty of stuff that does more damage. You could put closer here and then maybe not use momentum if you really felt like just doing a lot of extra damage, but I want the damage reduction because this new season seems like it's going to be like survivability is going to be very difficult. But anyway. We come over here, we grab this damage to close, since we are doing damage to close enemies, and it also gives us damage reduction from close, so this is just good. And this is just damage to elites that didn't take a whole lot of extra nodes, and this resistance to all elements. Our resistances, I think, are capped now, but one of them is barely capped. Yeah, fire resistance is barely capped this way. Now, I don't think I have poison resistance on either of these, I don't. So yeah, so like you'll need to grab these either way. Where are we at here? Yeah, we have control here. And grabbing this, even though mobility, I mean, it technically helps with the charge cooldowns, I guess, in between. Doesn't really matter, but this is a mobility skill, this is a mobility skill, and this is a mobility skill. So, we just grab it, go this way, plus this is where these are at, obviously. And there's nothing here that we need. These are subterfuge cooldowns. So we just go this way, come down. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Let's go up. And the last board is Tricks of the Trade. So this right here, where your marksman skill grants your cutthroat skills 25% increased damage. So that's why we use puncture and not the vigor, stolen vigor. Is I want to use this. I know that where there's exploit weaknesses there, but I just feel like this is the better option considering we need combo points to proc the star thing. I can't remember how much extra damage we do, but it's a lot. Which is also why we use the blade, the condemnation, so that we might just get 3 points off of one hit. So pretty much you have to do a rotation where you throw a puncture and then you do one dancing with blades and then one without any combo points and then throw another one. And that's how you keep your momentum stacks up. Because you'll lose one momentum from puncture, but if you cast 2 of them, you'll be able to keep your momentum up higher. So what you do is when you first go into the pit, you build up stacks of momentum by just channeling the ability and fucking around, right? Just like in the beginning, or you just go into some enemies and you hit them, don't worry about your combo points, build up your momentum for about 10 seconds, and then you start rotating, throwing combo points into the mix. But we grab this stuff up here, the damage reduction from close and damage too close, grabbing this, grabbing all of these, and we have fluidity in here. When you cast an agility skill, you just deal more damage. Pretty simple. I've only got tier 71 unlocked and haven't even done it, but we're just going to go into it, see how it does. It absolutely annihilated tier 65 though. So yeah, when you first come in, just do this. If you can still imbue, I don't know why I wasn't imbuing. Okay, 5 stacks, 6 stacks. And now we can start throwing in the combo points. And you can see the decrepify. But every single time we cast Poison Imbue, we're going to decrepify. Not every single time, but every other. Which is constant. We're constantly spamming, you know? If your stacks of momentum ever get too low, you just don't throw in the combo point. Oh, let me go this way.
I need more time.
My momentum stacks are going down lower than normal. I'm kind of out of rotation here. It's a little bit difficult to learn. I had it down when I was running the pit 65. Also not using my stable workers. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the best version of this build, but it works better than I thought it would, to be honest. You can clear the trash mobs without the point. When you get to like elites, you need to try to get them up, you know? Probably your best bet, because that will definitely keep your stacks and momentum up. problem too is accidentally casting puncture twice.
I'm not ready yet.
There we go. They were kind of getting in the rhythm now. So with Condemnation, the occasional combo point, or melee will just give you all your combo points, that's how we do it. The Star Shatter thing says you're supposed to get 3 more maximum combo points, but it's not showing if it is doing it or not. I don't know if it is or isn't.
I'm not ready yet.
I'm not dealing with poison is part of the problem here. There's a rotation that you have to do, and it's just, I'm really bad at that. Look at that. All that's max, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's pretty fun, to be honest. And once you get the rotation down, and if you're better at rotation than me, it'll work better for you too. But anyway, all the generic YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. It feels weird because usually I show the build after everything. But I figured I needed to go more in depth and explain things earlier than I normally do. Usually I just show you guys the stuff and you figure it out. But like with all the changes and stuff, season's weird. This is a new build too. Like a new, I don't know. I might try to tweak with it a little bit more later. But 5 hours, I need a break. Yeah.